Welcome, welcome. Are you getting excited for your new quails? I'm gonna show you how to build a cage. This particular one is almost 8 feet long and it's made out of 2 sections. So let's look inside. So I make this base on the floor to put the food in, and then you have the wire net. And then this is their housing. And I like to do the housing because they like to hang out over there. I cover both of these bases with some sand. It'll be easy to clean up, but I'll show you the proper way how to set this up for easy cleaning. Because the cage is so big, I have to have an extra door over here on the side so I can get to this window. And this window is what separates the 2 cages. Once removed, it becomes one big cage. Once you put that window back on, you can have 2 different areas, which means you can house 2 different families. This is optional. And that's my 3rd floor base. Pick a roof, any type you like, but this is why I have 3 bases, so you can put cinder blocks underneath those areas, and that will hold up your cage really well. So let's get started.
Off to Lowe's we go. Pick your wire. Pick your roof. You need an 8-footer unless you're going to build a really big cage.
Fencing boards are your cheapest options, unless you want to go ahead and pick the more expensive one inside. Don't forget your 2x2s for the frame. Okay, let's get started. So you have your 2x2s, and I have my wood prepped already. This is 2.5 feet deep. I would not suggest you go any more. It will be hard for you to reach your eggs. Your frame should look like this, but don't attach the boards yet. Here I'm gonna show you how you're going to do your side walls and your back walls. But you want to finish your base. You want to lay your wire down first and then attach the pieces of wood. It makes the cage go by easier if you have your wood pre-cut. So I'm just showing you how I have my stuff pre-cut and how it's going to lay out. The main reason for that is so you know how to cut your wire, what's the measurements you will need. So here's what the cage is supposed to look like. You do need to use screws because you will unscrew some of the pieces of wood just so you can make the wire fit in there. But this is pretty much the concept of the cage. As you can see, this is why you needed the measurements of the wood, so you can go ahead and stick the wire in between the pieces of wood to attach. The corner pieces are not screwed in all the way. That's so I can fit this wire in between the base and the side. As you can see, it's a little bit of a struggle, and I've been struggling here a little bit, but it all worked out. You see how the wood, you can pull it back a little bit and the wire goes in? That's what you want. But don't forget to go back and tighten those screws. Okay, once the net is gonna be in, you'll need a staple gun, and you can go ahead and staple it. Getting the wire in is pretty much the most painful part of this whole entire building. So I have a wire mesh. I have the top and the bottom on the outside, and then the left and the right will be on the inside. So you'll just staple it to the bottom, just like that. Having a staple gun makes things go by so much easier. Okay, let's see what we have here. So pretty much we are halfway done. As you can see, the floor is very shiny. I already covered it once with polyurethane. You're gonna need about a few coats of that, just FYI. You see how the mesh is laying on your frame and the floor pieces are laying on top of it. Also, the back wall has an extra board. You will need that to attach the extra pieces of wood to make the housing. Here's a closer look at the wire laying on the frame. Use a generous amount of staples right around there on the bottom so your wire is nice and tight. At this point, you can secure all of your loose wood pieces, and we're going to be moving on to the front of the cage. So I have my 4 boards, and I attach them right next to the base pieces of wood of the floor, if that makes sense. I had to sand down one board. It was just a little bit taller than the rest. Go ahead and attach your 4th last frame piece. As you can see, I have laser engraved pieces of wood. That's just extra since I have the engraver. But you can always paint them a different color and add some character to your cage or put some stickers on there. Make sure you pre-drill so your wood doesn't split. And these are 2.5-inch screws. Can you hear the quails in the background? They're getting excited for their new house. So the rain came out of nowhere. I had to move myself into the shed. And when living on the farm, you're never alone. Look at this beautiful face. Look how cute she is. How can I kick her off my back? I guess I'll have a helper for the rest of the day. The next step is going to be a little bit complicated. You might want to pause here and there to kind of see. So this is what it's going to look like. I already have all the little woods pre-cut. And as you can see, I have a 1x1. I have 2 of them already installed, but you're going to need 4. Also, you can see on the left-hand side, I have a 4-inch board. And on this side, I have 3 boards. 1 is long and 2 are short to make the little opening for the house. I attached those first, and then I secured them with the 1x1. And don't forget to sand all your wood down so you can cover it with polyurethane. Once those boards are in place, you can go ahead and get your wood glue and attach all those little pieces that you already have pre-cut to go over there. It's like Legos. You have all the pieces ready to go, and it's time to put them together. Some people ask, well, how long does it take to build something like this? Well, it takes a pretty long time. This cage took me almost 3 weeks. Sometimes I have to sit for a few hours and figure it out in my head. What's the next step? What do I cut first? What do I measure first? So here's your 3rd 1x1 attached. And as you can see, the back wall is a little bit longer, and that's why you needed that extra board, so it can attach. And here I have the thinnest plywood that you can buy at the store. I think those are the plywoods that go behind the furniture. You will need 1 more of those plywoods on the opposite side. But you can tell I spray painted it. And this is what your bottom's gonna look like. You're going to have 1 big opening on one side and a window on the other side. At this point, go ahead and measure your other opening on the top. Go ahead and cut it out and make an entry point. And by entry point, where they're going to enter the 2nd floor. As you can see, I lasered engraved an octagon, but if you can't, go ahead and just cut out a square, as you can see in the pictures. Moving on to the next point. Please do not skip this point. This will help you clean your cages for years and years to come. Go ahead and cover all the cracks. This is the Gorilla Glue clear coat. It dries out very quickly and it hides all these seams, so you're not gonna have anything fall through them. And you wanna go ahead and do that first before you put the clear coat on. Also, I use that glue. Once you're done with the cage, you go ahead and put that over the wire mesh that is exposed inside the cage to cover the sharp edges so the quail's beak and faces don't get hurt. And here, once again, I'm gonna show you, this is the color I used to spray paint the plywood from the inside. And once it's dry, I went ahead and sprayed everything with this clear gloss. I use that for the walls, not the base. So it's been about an hour since I sealed all the cracks. I went ahead and swept everything down just to make sure I don't have any debris. And this is the polyurethane that I was talking about. You want to go ahead and cover all of your bases of the chicken coop with this stuff. And go ahead and do more than one layer, 2 layers minimum. This will help you to clean everything off the bottom of the cage. After you seal it, let it dry overnight before you move on with the construction of the cage. There's a few drops on the bottom. Go ahead and just wipe them down. Let's move on to the doors. They're pretty easy to make. As you can see, you're gonna need 2 long pieces on the outside. Make sure you always have the long pieces on the out. Then on the inside, you go ahead and use a board. Staple your wire first, and after your wire is stapled, go ahead and pre-drill a hole and put a screw in there. Make sure you get a screw that's over 2 inches long so it can go through the first inch and into that second piece of wood. Spray paint is optional, but that really adds the character to your cage. Okay, let's move on to the little ladder that you're gonna install. Very easy. I have 2 boards and my leftovers, 1x2s that I had left over. I went ahead and pre-drilled tiny little holes and used small screws to attach the little, I don't know, what do you call those, little steps. And I sand down the top of it just so it can kind of lay more better. Here, I'll show you. I don't know how to explain this. Kind of goes like right in there like that. Perfect. And then you're going to go ahead and attach 2 long screws. It's just going to go right in there into your 1x1. And make sure that your ram is right next to the net so they don't fall on the opposite side. And here's a sample of another door. As you can see, you have the long sides on the outside, smaller pieces on the inside. Same concept as I showed you. You went ahead and stapled that in, put a screw on each side, and go ahead and spray paint whatever color you like. And that concludes the building of a cage. The setup is easy. Go ahead and get some center blocks at the store and it will look like this. And now for the fun part, go ahead and move your beautiful quails into their new house. Thank you for watching.